slowly traveling. God knows I have. I've been doing some low-down traveling. Oh, through land. God knows I have.
The American Friend is a stylistic and beautiful exercise in neo-noir filmmaking that leaves you breathless, if you let it, but could leave you disappointed if you don't. This film does not dwell on anything. It doesn't stop. It doesn't try too hard to pull on your heartstrings or grant you that emotional payoff. It doesn't check off those plot points you're expecting. There's no dramatic monologue, and for the most part, you have to figure out these characters for yourself. Exposition is simply not a priority. The camera points at things that are often left out in movies. Zimmerman sweeping in his shop, running to the doctor, creating a frame, walking with his son. The camera points at the in-betweens. There seems to be no beginning to scenes. There doesn't seem to be any end either. Every moment, every set piece, every scene bleeds into the next. It's as if the film flows like a lazy river from one moment to the next. It lacks those devices and that structure that we've become accustomed to in a thriller. The film doesn't stop for you. It's just a train that's chugging along, so all you can do is watch. It never explains itself, it never explains its characters. It only shows, as every moment is merged with the next, until it's all over. It's a cinematic experience that leaves you with impressions rather than answers. It shows without telling, without explaining, like a neo-noir painting. So how does this painting affect us? What does it say? Why do we see the in-betweens? Why doesn't it stop? Why does every scene bleed into the next? Why is it only showing? Well, all these interesting qualities of the American Friend add up to messing with our experience of the film's narrative. And it's all in this idea of narrative and how the film knows what narratives we expect, how the film knows what narratives we want, with all those explanations and twists, and that specific style of dialogue where the world is explained to the audience. We expect these things because it's how we live our lives. We create these narratives in our heads. We create stories about the world around us. Take memory as an example. The methods professional memorizers use to memorize vast amounts of numbers and information, like the order of every card in a deck, is by creating these stories. They create an action and a person with every card and visualize it. And then they remember the order of the deck, and they remember every card through the story they've created in their head, that they visualized in their head. For example, for the Queen of Diamonds, they might imagine Freddie Mercury putting on a diamond bracelet. We experience life through narrative. Our perception is narrative. And that's exactly what we expect to see on screen. And now in these stories displayed on the screen, we get wrapped up in the characters, much like how we get wrapped up in real life in our perception of it. We root for this character, we get scared for another, we're disgusted by this person but feel proud of another. We are manipulated. And it's in this that we lose perspective, just like how we can lose perspective in real life. Think about that phrase, wrapped up. Wrapped up so we can't really see. If presented in a certain way, the American Friend could also be this and get us all wrapped up. But the film doesn't try to be. Inevitably, of course, we do feel these things, but it's more subtle. Despite having narrative, the film isn't trying to be a story. And in this, we remain more objective, more clear-headed in the adventures of Tom Ripley. The characters are wrapped up in their world, but we're just kind of hanging out in it. And this gives us, the audience, a unique perspective. And this seems to be the culminating effect of what we discussed earlier. The filming of the in-betweens. How it shows, it doesn't explain. how the film just keeps chugging along like a train without stopping, and every scene doesn't seem to have an end, doesn't seem to have a beginning, and every moment just kind of merges with the next. Take a look at this death, for example. It's presented objectively. It isn't dramatic, it just kind of happens. And it's clumsy, disturbing, blunt, real. I think it really demonstrates this lack of narrative and drama, and the unique perspective that it offers the audience. Another good example that I think of is how the film treats Zimmerman's child. He's just kind of there. He's not exploited to pull on our heartstrings, make us cry. He's not treated in the way he would be treated in a melodrama. He's just kind of hanging out. He's just kind of there. So we watch these characters with objectivity. We watch them walk from place to place, sweep their shop, talk to themselves, lay in bed, bathe, kill, drive. We watch them like we would look at a painting, just to take it in and experience it, without a focus on narrative. We get the experience of objectivity that is rarely afforded in real life. And that is the gift of the American friend. Now, that exact experience, the audience's objective experience, is echoed in these moments of clarity for the characters, these moments of self-reflection for Zimmerman and Ripley, where they realize the things that we as an audience are granted for every minute of the runtime, but the characters only realize for a few moments. A chance to breathe. A crying Ripley, taking Polaroids of himself, bathed under the green light of a Canada Dry sign. Ripley listening to himself talk.
Who I am.
A slouched Zimmerman staring at himself in the mirror, holding a gun, reflecting on who he's become. A screaming Zimmerman, throwing his head out of the window. It is a story about how we experience the world, how we get wrapped up in it, in our narratives, but also about those moments of self-reflection where we gain some perspective for maybe a moment or two. These moments coming up for breath, only to be dragged back under. These characters lost in their narratives, in their lives, without perspective. Zimmerman can't handle it. Ripley can't handle it either.
Well, we made it anyway, Jonathan. Be careful. Pity the poor immigrant who's
Maybe Nicholas Ray put it best. A little older, a little more confused. Or maybe it was the Kinks. Too much on my mind.
There's too much on my mind. There's too much on my mind. And I can't sleep at night thinking about it. I'm thinking all the time. There's too much on my mind. It seems there's more to life than just to live it. There's too much on my mind, and there is nothing I can say. There's too much on my mind, and there is nothing I can do about it. About it. My thoughts just weigh me down and drag me to the ground and shake my head till there's no more life in me. It's ruining my brain.
I know rock musicians. I know lawyers. I know art dealers, pimps, politicians. But murder? I don't want to be involved. Period.
There is nothing I can say. There's too much on my mind, and there is nothing I can do about